or good day wherever you are in the world. Thank you for joining me tonight. As you arrive, please jump in and say hello and tell me where you are tonight. Uh, Tonight, we're going to be talking about getting real, about treating MS naturally. And I love that in less than a year, our Transform MS Naturally Facebook group has grown to almost 1,200 people. That's amazing. I'm so delighted that each and every one of you is there and looking to do more for yourself. I think that's amazing. And yet I still see questions and like, what should I take? What supplement are you taking for this? What are you doing? What are you doing? What supplement are you taking? And ah, that makes me think, you know what? People need to really understand what transforming MS naturally means. What does natural healing all about? And I remember about 10 years ago, I was at a friend's place. There was a party going on, and the husband of a friend of mine, who was also a naturopath, said to me, "So, do you really think you can, help people treat MS naturally?" And my head almost snapped off my shoulders. And I said, "Of course I do. I'm a naturopathic doctor. That's what I do. That's the peeps that I work with. Of course I do." And that was 10 years ago. And now with 20 years of experience under my belt, it's uh, it's kind of a no-brainer for me. Like, a lot of this stuff is hardcore science right now. So healing with MS is a big job, but it's very doable. And it's really all about you. And by that, I mean understanding what naturopathic healing means to you so that you can fully participate. So, first, I want to tell you about like that naturopathic medicine is all about deep patient assessment that allows you to get to the root cause of the disease or the condition, right? So that's what we want to do. We want to get the root cause. Will stop the symptoms. If the symptoms are happening up here, they're not happening in isolation, right? There's something that's fueling that fire. And knowing how a condition is created in somebody by doing that deep assessment allows you to align the body's innate capacity for healing with its needs. So I speak through the lens of a licensed ND, naturopathic doctor, because that's what I am. There are other licensed natural health professionals, but the key that I want to make there, the point I want to make there, is these are licensed people. And that's very important because we've got all kinds of people out there professing to be experts and to have the solution and the protocol. Always be very, very skeptical of anybody. Well, not the word protocol means something that's applied to everybody, right? So we don't want protocols. We want individualization. But to say the least, the natural health industry is a $1 trillion industry. And that gives a lot of leeway for a lot of sketchy individuals to come in with their products and their solutions and a new twist on a new old idea. But really what it's created is kind of like the Wild West of healthcare that preys on fear, right? And then we go to Google, right? Then that fear explodes, and it makes everybody an expert in Google, and everybody is selling a problem to fix your fear. And you know what? I see it all the time. I've had people, when I had the clinic, I had people come in with boxes and bags and suitcases. I even had a woman walk in one day with a drawer all full of supplements. And when I tell them, okay, well, thanks for bringing that in. Would you like to spend the rest of your valuable consultation time going through these bottles and telling me why you're taking them? We can do that. And they kind of look at me and they say, why am I taking these? I'm taking these because they're good for MS. And, we go back to that Google example, collecting information, analysis paralysis. Throw in some FOMO, some fear that you're missing out on things, and then grasping at things. And guess what? Then you end up with a drawer or a suitcase full of supplements. Then I hear things like, oh, I tried that once. It didn't work for me. Why were you taking it? How long were you taking it? What were you taking it for? Why were you taking it? And that's one thing I want everybody. I want you. I'm not saying I don't have supplements. I got a few bottles right here, but I know exactly why I'm taking them. I know exactly how long I'm going to take them and what I'm trying to accomplish with that. So ultimately, it's not about what's good for MS. That's the point I'm trying to make. It's about what's good for you. And what's best for you is always being educated, right? Being educated on what you're doing, having a long-term plan with a support structure. And that support structure is both personal and professional. And it's a support structure that's going to change over time because you're going to change. Your level of education and understanding is going to just go up and up and up. So you're going to need different people at different times in your life. So I just want to talk a little bit more about naturopathic medicine, natural medicine, I suppose, but specifically naturopathic doctors, because once again, as I led with, I don't think it's well understood, but naturopathic doctors have been licensed primary care practitioners in the province of Ontario anyway. Every province or state or country has different rules and regulations around them. But we've been licensed in Ontario, the province that I am registered in, since the 1920s, right? It's a 4-year post-grad program with internship, licensing exams, governing bodies, the whole business. So basically, naturopathic medicine is the general practitioner of the natural medicine world. So we're trained we're trained in, of course, the medical sciences, of course, the capacity of the body to heal and eliciting healing techniques in the body, the foundations, building foundations of healing for people, and then the naturopathic treatment modalities like botanical medicine, like homeopathy, like nutrients and supplements, like acupuncture. So we have a large array of modalities that we draw on to create something for you. Once again, not for MS, because I might have 10 people with MS and everybody is being treated differently. Because the primary diagnosis may be MS, but what else is going on for you? I've got some people that I've had their diagnosis MS, but when I do that deep assessment I was talking about, we find out that their hormones are totally out of whack, and we've balanced their hormones, and guess what? Their MS picture has improved immensely. It might be, MS is their primary diagnosis, but anxiety is their main concern. So you work with that anxiety, you bring more healing in, and the MS improves significantly. So I'm not telling you this to build my practice. Actually, come the new year, I'm going to be doing things differently in my private practice anyways. I'm telling you this because transforming MS naturally is so much more than Googling what supplements are good for MS, right? So what's your role in MS, in treating MS naturally? Because remember I said it's all about you. And that's the exciting part. That's the part where you get involved and you are an active participant in your healthcare, rather than a victim waiting for other people to tell you what to do, right? So the first thing is, of course, believing that it can be done and believing in yourself and your body's innate capacity to heal, because my God, it's there. And you know what? Don't wait for any more information, because the science is very clear on that. The body of knowledge in neuroscience has doubled in the last 20 years. You've heard me say that a million times, I'm sure, right? Then transforming MS naturally is about stopping the craziness and really taking the time to understand MS. Why are you taking that? Remember? So I like to tell people that it's, if you've been listening to me for a while, you know my simple model of MS. And MS is the last thing MS is simple. It's probably one of the most complex conditions out there. But to simplify it into a model that people can understand, it's this inappropriate, misdirected immune response that's creating this inflammation that's, playing itself out in the brain in oxidative damage and demyelination and all that stuff. And that's where we get the symptoms. And that's the scary part, right? Because symptoms caused by the brain are scary, or they can be, right? So the last thing you need to know about your role in transforming MS naturally is that this is a journey. This is not, I want to do it naturally and I want it done by next Thursday, okay? That's not what a natural approach to health is about. It's about managing expectations. It's about understanding that this is a journey. And like any journey, you've got to know where you are now, where you want to get to, and how you're going to get there, and what you need to get there. You need a map, you need a plan, you need, a guide. And all of those things at every stage. And I don't mean stage of decline. I mean stage of life. Things will get better. Things will get worse. Things will get better. Things may get worse. So, but ultimately, we want to get to that balanced state of homeostasis, right? And I think one of the greatest areas where there is so much research now is about that very role that you play and your mindset and your level of participation. And I love the old Einstein quote that says something like, you can't solve a problem with the same mind that created it. So we literally have to create a new mind. So we have to get out of that fear and that disease model and get into a health model. And that's what I love about naturopathic medicine. It's not about fighting back a disease. It's about bringing more health in. And guess what? The more health you bring in, the less space there is for disease, right? Of course, there's another quote too that says, if you do what you've always done, you'll get what you've always got, which I guess is kind of the flip side of Einstein's quote. But I do want you to understand that there's plenty that you can do. So we've established that this is a journey. So what's in your backpack then? What do where do you start? What's your plan? And this is where there's lots and lots you can do. For years and years and years, I've stopped counting how many years, I've taught the 4 cornerstones for people managing MS naturally. And these are all things that you can do for yourself. The first one is diet and nutrition. And I hear questions all the time, and I'm glad people are asking them, and I'm glad people are being turned on to this stuff for the first time. It's very exciting for me. But I hear people say, do you really think that, is it really necessary to change my diet? Like, do you really think that I can change things with diet? And the answer is yes. And that data is not new. That data is becoming very popular, but the first person to to do studies on diet in MS was a board certified neurologist by the name of Roy Swank. And, it just keeps going and going and going. There we go. We've got Franco saying detox, physio, massage, exercise, pray, move, and diet. Yes, sir. And diet. Now, the second cornerstone. So you've heard me talk about diet. If you haven't, please check back into some of the past videos. If you're brand new, welcome. And please check some of the past videos. Yes, gluten-free is essential. Yes, dairy-free is essential. Yes, sugar-free is essential. I'm sorry, these have become food toxins for us now, right? And that's well established, lots of literature behind it. It's no longer that crazy naturopath says I can't eat wheat, right? It's research scientists telling you can't eat wheat. If you want optimal health, if you don't really care, then you can do whatever you want, right? So that's the first cornerstone, diet and nutrition. The second cornerstone is lifestyle and self-care. So how are you living? Are you always living in the fast lane with no time for downtime? I mean, we live in a culture that measures and rewards itself on what we do and not what we be, not being. So there's no value on the being part of it. And of course, it's in the being that people heal, right? Do you smoke? Do you drink? Are you up late at night? How's your sleep? All of those things play into lifestyle and self-care. Are you doing your castor oil packs? I want to see it in the chat. You have heard me talk about castor oil packs since we started this group almost a year ago. So is everybody doing their castor oil packs? And if you haven't been, then I think that's a great thing to start this weekend. And look for my video on castor oil packs. I'll post it again in the group because it's that important. But self-care, movement for life, back to what Franco was saying. Our bodies are made to move. And generally what happens if there's a little bit of foot drop or there's a little bit of wobble in the balance and it's like, okay, I can't move like I used to, or I'm not moving like I used to. So we stop moving. And that's exactly the wrong solution. And what neuroscience has brought to us in terms of the understanding of neuroplasticity and how the body can recreate pathways in the brain to recreate movement is fascinating. We talked about it in my lesson in the group, in the program, 10 Weeks to Transform MS, where we talked all about it last week. So movement for life. Our movement begets movement. The more you move, the more you'll be able to move. So having a regular workout, having a regular yoga session. Maybe you want to get 6 sessions with a personal trainer who can give you some ideas. Maybe you want to work with a neurophysiotherapist to help promote some good movement. But definitely top of the stack, one of the 4 cornerstones. And then, of course, the last cornerstone is mind, body, and spirit. And, it has become the social norm that our culture has created to have feelings of not enough, just in normal everyday life. I'm not fast enough. I'm not busy enough. I'm not happy enough. I'm not rich enough. I'm not skinny enough. I'm not beautiful enough. And then you get a diagnosis, and that takes not enough to a whole new level, doesn't it? So once again, the science behind the body-mind connection is astounding. And, so introducing, awareness of where you are in your journey, your connection to yourself, your connection to something greater than yourself, your acceptance. And when I say acceptance, I don't mean rolling over and playing dead with MS and saying, oh, I have MS and playing the victim. I mean saying, okay, so this is where I am. Okay, that's a good place to start. Thank you very much. And then diving into the self-love and diving into the self-compassion, and all of the things that have kept us from that connection with ourselves, which is actually profoundly healing. Remember, I want you to remember this: where the mind goes, the body follows. So if your mind is in is on a slippery slope, then your body's going to follow that, and that's just the way it is, right? So we've got 4 things there that you can dive into for a long, long, long time: diet, nutrition, lifestyle, self-care, movement and exercise, and mind, body, spirit. So then, getting real about treating MS naturally is less about MS and more about you. It's about knowing what to put in that backpack, right? It's less about what you take and more about what you do, as in those 4 cornerstones. It's less about fear and anxiety and more about love and being in the present moment. It's less about everybody else and what they are telling you that you should be doing. And it's more about taking ownership and being able to make decisions. And it's less about fighting disease and more about bringing health in. So I hope that that is helpful. And do I believe that MS can be managed and transformed and reversed naturally? I absolutely do. Because you show me. You prove for 20 years I've worked with people that have shown it to me. Now, there are also the people that don't, that they'll come and see me a few times and then I don't see them again. You know why? Because they're not there yet. They're not invested in themselves. They don't have that belief. They don't have that confidence. They don't understand what they're capable of, and that's okay. Maybe they'll come around too. Anyway, once again, I hope that's helpful. I'm going to jump over here and see if we have any questions and comments. And hello, Bonnie Twining McDonald, Canadian watching from Florida. You're welcome for all that I do. I love doing it, Bonnie. And oh, I'm sorry. I'm supposed to be putting Bonnie up there. There you go. Franco, is it Sinelli?
He's on YouTube.
He's on YouTube. Franco is.
Click on his image.
Oh, sorry. There we go. Welcome, Franco. Franco's got some great ideas. I love them. And diet. Then we've got Maria. Hello from Ottawa. Thank you. Thank you for your feedback, Maria. That's wonderful. You guys are letting me off the hook big time today. No big questions, eh? Dr. John McDougall. Yep. Dr. John McDougall, Franco. There's a lot. Eat much less. Isn't that a really good point? Boy, we could go on that forever. Absolutely. We are, what do they say? We're starving to death in what do they say? We're starving to death in a world of plenty, right? We just don't have the nutritional value in the garbage that's being eaten right now. There's Pamela, not sure. There's lose weight, absolutely. Franco's on the ball. Losing weight. Why losing weight? Fat is inflammatory, right? Those advanced, sorry, Mike. Those advanced glycolytic end products that end up causing oxidative damage in the brain come from blood sugar. Fort Wayne, Indiana. And so, Pamela, you can go back and watch this video. It'll be in the group and on my Facebook page probably. Rita, long time no see from Sydney, Australia. So good to see you again. Doing well. Awesome, awesome, awesome. What is that castor oil? Pamela wants to know. Pamela, castor oil packs are something you apply to your abdomen. They take down inflammation through the gut. They promote detoxification in the liver, and they calm the central nervous system by activating the vagus nerve. And Mikey, can I see where Pamela is? Is she on the group? Is she in the group or is she on my page? You know what? You know what I'm going to do, Pamela, just for you. I'm going to post the castor oil pack video that I've been using for years again. Where on the page?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll post it on my page. Usually I post it in the group, but I'll post it in the page. And the video is a much younger version of myself that'll tell you exactly how to do all that. Okay, thank you. You're welcome, Franco. Thank you for showing up. What part of the body do I put the castor oil pack on? Yes, okay. Rita, you should know that by now. Actually, it's not a bad question though. In general, remember I talked about bringing more health in. If you do nothing else in transforming your health naturally, you do your castor oil pack. And like I said, you're going to promote great health by reducing inflammation. You're going to retrain normal bowel movement. You're going to get liver detoxification and central nervous system calming. However, you can also put it on areas of pain. Like in our neuropathy talk, we talked about doing castor oil socks to the feet. You can put it on anything, really. You can put your pack on anything that hurts. If you've had COVID and you've got a wheezy lung, you can put your castor oil pack on your chest. You can put it wherever you want. Okay. What is the page called? Oh, the page is just my Dr. Teri Jaklin Transform MS page. Rita, you're in the group. You don't. That's fine. And you're all welcome to join the group. Transform MS Naturally with Dr. Teri Jaklin. Okay. Very good. Thank you all for coming, and we'll see you next Wednesday night. Okay? Take good care. Bye-bye.